2 days after the failed negotiation, Zhang Yi received a direct video message from Yangsheng base. He and Yang Xinxin watched it together. The video opened on a grim scene set against a large factory frame in the snow, where more than a dozen severed human heads hung from ropes. Xiao Honglian stood before this execution platform, her eyes cold and indifferent as she stared into the camera. She delivered a stark declaration: an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Zhang Yi, this is just the beginning. Soon I will have your and your friends' heads hanging on the execution platform of Yangsheng base. The 1-minute video served as a brutal flag-raising ceremony, a clear declaration of war. After watching, Zhang Yi remained silent for a moment before taking a sip of hot coffee and remarking, "Finally dead, at least it's clean." Yang Xinxin sighed, expressing not happiness but a deep sadness and fear, worrying that she might one day share the same fate. Zhang Yi moved to comfort her, embracing her and assuring her of his protection, which moved Yang Xinxin to tears and a silent vow to remain useful to him. Understanding the need for Liang Yu to face this cruel reality, Zhang Yi decided to show her the video to sever her last hopes. He first handed Yang Xinxin a packet of calming drugs to mix into Liang Yu's coffee. After Liang Yu drank it and the drug took effect, Zhang Yi gathered everyone. He warned them the video was brutal before playing it. The moment Liang Yu saw the rows of severed heads, her mind went blank, the world spun, and she collapsed to the ground. Lu Karen rushed to her side anxiously, but Zhang Yi calmly explained she had been given a sedative and would be fine after rest. Uncle Yu sighed at the tragedy, calling Liang Yu a responsible teacher dealt a terrible blow. Zhang Yi then carried the unconscious Liang Yu to her room, instructing Yang Xinxin and Lu Karen to care for her and directing Zhou Core to use sedatives to stabilize her emotions, even recommending a higher dosage to prevent reckless actions. With Liang Yu settled, Zhang Yi convened the others in the living room to discuss the imminent conflict. He stated that a battle with Yangsheng base was now inevitable and that Chaoyu base would likely join them, creating significant defensive pressure. He outlined the strategy: they would fight from the first line of defense and retreat to the shelter if it was breached. However, Zhang Yi analyzed that unlike the conflict with Xishan base, there was no deep mortal enmity here. The deaths of Xiao Honglian's cousin and Wei Dinghai's confidant were not sufficient cause for a fight to the death. The real purpose of the attack was territorial seizure. He expressed confidence, noting their improved weaponry and the likelihood that the enemy would withdraw after sustaining certain casualties. His ultimate goal was to demonstrate strength, thereby deterring all other organizations in Tianhai City from future invasions. The shelter remained on high alert after Xiao Honglian's declaration of war, with Zhang Yi and his team sleeping in combat uniforms, ready to respond instantly to any attack. However, no immediate assault came from Yangsheng or Chaoyu bases, as large-scale warfare required meticulous logistical and defensive planning. At the shelter, Liang Yu's grief over her students' deaths left her unable to eat, necessitating intravenous nutrition from Zhou Core, while Zhang Yi allowed her to harbor her hatred, intending for her to channel it in the upcoming battle. From the snow-covered wilderness, Zhao Jianhua, a high priest of the snow worship cult, approached the shelter. Using his Qi observation superpower, he perceived an overwhelmingly vast and brilliant aura swirling above the structure, so powerful it obscured the sky. Trembling at the sight, he speculated that such a presence might belong to a god's right-hand man and decided to report this critical discovery to his cult's leader and high priest before retreating slowly back into the storm. At Yangsheng base, Xiao Honglian solidified her plans to attack Zhang Yi's shelter, motivated by resource acquisition under the guise of revenge. Her deputy, Zhuge Qingting, brought in Wu Huairan, the former manager of Zhanlong Security Company, who had overseen the shelter's construction. Wu Huairan detailed the shelter's structural specifics and confidently proposed using large work vehicles to cut through its walls, assuring that Yangsheng base could succeed where others had failed. Xiao Honglian assigned him to the mission with a promise of promotion but pondered why Xishan base had not used explosives to breach the shelter despite its known vulnerabilities. Xiao Honglian welcomes Wu Huairan's arrival at Yangsheng base, valuing his intimate knowledge of the shelter's construction, yet she remains deeply uneasy. The Xishan base possessed overwhelming firepower and still failed to breach Zhang Yi's defenses, suggesting the enemy's strength far exceeds surface estimates. Unwilling to shoulder the risk alone, she adopts a merchant's calculus: limited profit, shared danger. She contacts Wei Dinghai, leader of Chaoyu base and a strategic partner whose family also lost a superhuman to Zhang Yi. Both leaders admit their individual forces are insufficient, and they swiftly conspire to drag the Qingpu base and the ostracized snow worship cult into a joint operation, binding all four major powers to the war effort so none can stab the others in the back. After haggling, they divide the anticipated spoils. Xiao Honglian secures the industrial factories of Lujiang district, while Wei Dinghai takes the food stores and a promise of fuel. The scene shifts to the Qingpu shelter, buried beneath the old steel mill in the northwest. Its ruler, Xing Tian, sits on a lathe in a gray work uniform, an unremarkable middle-aged man feeding steamed buns to two chained figures crawling on the floor. Director Lu and Director Sun, former officials now reduced to barking dogs through starvation and humiliation. Xing Tian delights in their degradation, mocking their past dignity. When green-leaf-badged subordinates arrive to summon him to Xiao Honglian's meeting, he cheerfully hands the dogs to his men with orders to keep them alive for entertainment. As he walks out, the workshop erupts in barking that swiftly twists into piercing screams, underscoring the casual cruelty that defines Qingpu Base's leadership. The coalition takes shape around a core of ruthless pragmatism and shared bloodlust, each faction calculating how to survive the coming assault and the betrayals that will follow.